What is going on, people? Welcome to Apocaflix Now, the movie hangout show from Apocaflix Movies. We got a three-man crew today. We won't be seeing Gio and Keith this evening. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and I'm joined by, first up, Brian Avalosino. What's going on, Brian?
Oh, nothing. Just another day in the life of a overheated Sacramentian, if you will.
I was hoping you were going to mention the heat. If not, I would.
Yeah.
It's not as hot today, but it's...
Oh, yeah. No, it's not that high. It's only 102 today, so it's not...
It's not 108.
No, it's actually quite cold. But, yeah, just chilling, grinding along the work week.
Taking care of my Cuckoo's Nest poster. Nice and...
it's behind there, so, yeah.
No, I texted Brian about that the other day. I was like, Brian, tell me before you move so that poster doesn't get ruined or lost or something.
It was just gonna get stored in the trash, but other than that,
no. I think Jake might be mad at you if you did that because he framed it for me and everything. Speaking of Jake, how you doing, man? We got Jake Berlin in the house.
I'm good. It's life, life.
Life, work.
But I will say on a positive side, I mean, I don't know what you guys do as far as like watch the Olympics and stuff, but
as what?
Like watching the Olympics and stuff. I don't know if you guys watch it or not. Olympic golf is awesome.
Golf's in the Olympics.
USA took the gold for the men. The women just started today. Swimming, I've never been so exhilarated by swimming in my entire life.
Swimming is fun.
And then obviously I feel the pain for the women's soccer. Polling for them obviously came up short against Canada. And then track and
didn't the men's soccer win?
Well, they didn't win the Olympics. They won the
CONCACAF.
The CONCACAF.
Okay.
They won a different tournament. So
I see.
But yeah, no,
I don't know if they've ever won.
They've never won an Olympics. No, God no.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's kind of been a nice little escape. Sports is like back in a way. Like it's been back for a while, but being that the Olympics were delayed last year, and then but it is weird because it's August of 2021, but they're titled Tokyo 2020. Like,
yeah,
just change it 1 year. Like you don't have to be that technical about it.
It's so weird. And then are they doing it in 24 again, so they have less time training and stuff?
Yeah, like what? Like just name it 2021 for God's sake. Just name it 2021.
Just this one time. Yeah. No, I feel you. To the golf point, there's so many sports that I never thought were involved in the Olympics.
Is this the first year that golf has been in it? No?
Did you know that skateboarding is an Olympic sport?
Dude, I was just about to say I've been watching. I remember when they first said skateboarding, I was like, I've been watching the crap out of the skateboarding when it was on. It was fun to watch. It was pretty awesome. My favorite's always obviously the track and field, but no, skateboarding caught my interest hard for a while.
And USA Baseball is doing good. They went undefeated in pool play. And speaking of skateboarding, the skateboarders for the women, 2 13-year-olds won gold and silver.
Oh wow!
13-year-olds can compete.
Dude, you can compete as I think it's like 12 is the youngest age or something. But yeah.
Oh, maybe certain ones are certain age limits. Because I know gymnastics, I think you can't be under 18. Yeah. I don't know. Don't ask me. But Olympics have been entertaining. I just can't wait for them to get to a place where they are in a decent time zone for us. That is what I would like. Because
that's what the Olympics are, though.
I know, but I'm just saying in general. Like I can't wait for it to be.
I was just looking at United States women basketball versus Australia, and I was like 9:40 tonight. I was like, that's late, but it's because it's not on our time.
Yeah. I mean,
all the soccer games took place at 1 a.m. our time.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure some people were up watching that, which is crazy.
Yeah, my timeline was flooded with people. People were doing like watch-alongs and stuff.
Yeah.
When's the last time it was in the U.S.? Wasn't it like 12 years ago?
Atlanta.
96. Wow.
Yeah, Atlanta, but it comes to back to us in 32.
But sorry, the Summer Olympics. The winter were here. The winter was here before, closer than that.
Recently, that's what I was thinking of.
You're thinking of the winter. They went to
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City not too long ago, which is the closest we've had as far as Olympics in the U.S. So
All right, Brian, we just got to survive till 2032, and maybe we can go to an Olympic event.
LA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe we can go to an event.
Well, they for a while,
in 11 years.
They were saying the soccer games might get held at like UC Berkeley and Stanford, and if that's the case,
oh wow,
I'll be beelining it.
That'd be pretty cool.
So,
all right, well, the Olympics are exciting, but we're definitely here to talk some movies. And first up on the list is the movie watching challenge.
Well, Jesus, sorry, not paying attention.
Yes. So this week's going to be a little bit different. We don't have Keith's thoughts on the movie that he was challenged to.
We're moving on.
Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and
lose, bud.
And it was mine, and it was a great one too.
We're moving
what movie
on.
was it again?
If
The
he wants
Shining.
if he wants to shoot a separate video, he's more
Yeah.
But sucks to suck, Keith.
Yes, well, I was challenged, which is all that matters, that I'm challenged. So I have been chosen by Keith to be the next challenge up, which means I'm guessing 4 movies have been submitted for the challenge for me to be challenged to. And I'm wondering what I should do. I'll go ahead and go with a poll because I love having the viewers involved. So we will do a poll.
You're such a suck up.
I know I am. I want them all to like me, man.
This is going to be a very hard poll.
Yeah, the poll could be interesting on this one.
It's going to be a very hard poll.
All right, Mr. Jacob. Your 4 movies that you have been challenged to are In Bruges,
Interesting.
Pleasantville, Her,
Whoa.
and The Exorcist.
This is so random.
I know.
This is the most random poll ever.
You are quite all over the place.
But I do, other than In Bruges, I'm not too familiar with that movie. But the other 3 have definitely been on my list for a while. So, yes, you get to vote and decide which movie I'll be watching this weekend. So go ahead and check that out on our community tab. You can find that poll. I'm sure Jake will have it up sometime shortly.
Don't put that pressure on me.
Hey, look, I didn't say 30 seconds. I didn't say 10 minutes.
You said sometime shortly, and that's short time.
That could mean tomorrow.
Within the hour.
I'm giving you some flexibility.
Freaking pressure, dude. You're starting to show off hot, Jacob. I'm gonna come for you.
Oh man. Yes. So yeah, go ahead and vote on that, and you will dictate at least 2 hours of my weekend this weekend. So that should be fun. All right. So it is Tuesday News Day after all. So it wouldn't be that kind of look. Trailers are
favorite day of the week. He's been waiting to say it.
Are newsy, right? Talk about them on movie news shows. So we got a couple trailers to get into. So what do we have, Jake?
Yeah, so we'll start off with the big one. The first one that was released, which was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. You can see a trailer reaction up on the channel. Gio and myself did one, so it's going to be fun to hear these two guys' thoughts. But we have Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
It's a dumb title. That's
yeah, it's a terrible title. Venom 2, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. We get a first official, full, in-your-face look at what this movie's all about. We get to see Woody Harrelson bring to the screen for the very first time the very popular character of Carnage. We get some teases of Shriek. We obviously get Tom Hardy back and Andy Serkis directing. Get a little bit of Michelle Williams in there, not too much. But the movie definitely, or the trailer rather, definitely focuses on the relationship between Carnage and Venom and, oh my God, why am I blanking? Cletus Cassidy and Eddie Brock specifically. So yeah, I'm going to sit back for a little bit. I'll comment, but I put most of my thoughts out there on the trailer reaction. I did kind of sit on it over the last 24 hours, but because you guys haven't said much, I would love to see what you guys have to say and kind of thinking about what Venom Let There Be Carnage looks like now that this is the second trailer and the first really kind of story-oriented one that we've gotten.
Jacob, would you like to go first?
Sure. I didn't love the first trailer. There's a couple cool things in it, but they really went into like the stuff that didn't work in the first one for me in the first trailer. This one was a little bit mixed as well. So overall for this trailer, I'm really torn. I'm like 50-50 on it because half of it is like some of this goofy stuff and then half of it is some really cool Venom Carnage stuff. And I think Carnage actually looks really good. I like the design of Carnage. I'm curious, does this movie have a rating yet? If anybody knows.
So we talked about that on the reaction yesterday.
Well, that looks like it might be R.
Well, so the rating system now is very strange on what they clarify as R and PG-13. The first one was PG-13, and there were moments like that.
True.
They were definitely, and also that shot may be cut away in the movie shorter than it was in the trailer, and so that's what might make it PG-13. This movie has to be rated R for me. It has to be.
Well, especially with Carnage there. That's the thing. It's like, okay, the first Venom, it worked as PG-13.
I think it won't be, though.
I don't think it will be, but I think it has to be.
It should be. It should be, but they won't, because then they can't offer funny Venom to kids.
That's true. And I think that's kind of what they're going for, because that's what didn't work for me is the comedy in this trailer. There were funny moments in the first movie, and I think there can be funny moments, but I feel like it's too much of that stuff where he's breaking his nose and that type of thing. Like those kind of moments.
I disagree.
Really?
I said this yesterday. I think, and I put it this way. In the first movie, there were two different styles of comedy. The one that worked really good was within the relationship of Eddie and Venom. That's when it worked really well. The other stuff that we saw in the movie was very slapstick, did not work. I thought the first trailer that we got was the slapstick, like get out of my face, like him making breakfast. I thought this trailer did a really good job of in the moment of the relationship of Eddie and Venom.
No, it was better.
That's what I think it works better. Like, for example, when the moment where Eddie's like, you need to come out now, like I'll let you eat all the people in the world. And Venom's like, yeah, like that stuff worked.
I like that.
That was the only part that I actually laughed at was when he goes, no, that's a red one. I was like, all right. That's
that's the type of comedy that this movie needs. You can't have like the Venom making him breakfast. That's stupid. I don't need that.
To me, the breaking his nose part kind of felt like the breakfast part to me, and it was at the beginning of the trailer. But I will say this trailer is better than the first one.
Yes,
I think
agree with
so.
you there.
And so basically, the first one was like 75% stuff I didn't like, and 25% I did like. This one's more 50-50, I'll say. And I did like the moment when he's gonna, Carnage shows up and Venom gets scared or whatever. I liked that moment a lot actually, because that is playing. And I know, Brian, you guys both probably know more about Venom, mythology than me, but that plays more into like the comic book, like Venom. But there's a reason why he's afraid of the Carnage Venom or whatever it is. But also, he bites him. Is Cletus Cassidy a cannibal, or what's up with that? Because
so he's a serial killer.
So they're saying he bit him, and that's how he gets the symbiote, right? So are they saying that he knows that he's...
I don't think so. I think it's going to be in his lethal injection, which Jake showed him like doing the whole thing.
Okay. But, well, it's possible that... All right, so he probably bit him and took in his blood, right? And then maybe when he gets the lethal injection, like he got some little powers from biting Eddie, and then they combine, and then he becomes Carnage, I could see something like that happening. But yeah, overall, just like it's a better trailer. I like the look of Carnage. I actually like Woody Harrelson the best in anything I've seen in this trailer. It wasn't like the end credit scene or like the first trailer. So getting me more towards being excited, but either way, I'm going to be there. I'm going to see it in theaters. It's a high profile comic book movie. I'm just really curious about that R rating. We'll see when it comes in.
There's no way it's R rated.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Sony, I don't think Sony will let their movies be R rated.
No. I'm still like on it. Like honestly, like if this movie didn't exist, I'd be okay with it. Like I'm not like I wouldn't be devastated if this movie wasn't a thing. I honestly think that I'm starting to get tired of Tom Hardy. I think he's starting to annoy me as Eddie Brock. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I can't pinpoint it. I don't love it. They look a bajillion times better. I'll say that.
Mhm.
Like they're not blurry, and like that one that image Jake just showed of like the close up on Carnage. Like he legitimately like it looks well put together. Like they actually spent the money to make them look good. Because I think overall that might have been like one of the biggest complaints from the first one, right? Is that they looked like crap.
I don't necessarily think if it was they look like crap, but in the final fight, you couldn't tell which one was right or Venom.
Yeah,
that was the big issue.
Yeah,
and a lot of the camera work was really bad too, and it was very CGI oriented. And if it's just these two inside like a building fighting, then you're fine. Don't make it like helicopters and broken glass.
Yeah, and like it's a rock while a rocket's going up. And
exactly,
all that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm. It's like Jacob said. Am I going to see it? Yes. It's a comic book movie with pretty important characters. I don't know. I'm kind of just meh on it. Like I'm just like, okay. Like and who knows? That might be a good thing. Maybe I set my expectations so low that it blows me out of the water, and I thought it was really good. But I kind of at this like I don't really care. Like it didn't do anything for me personally.
Yeah,
but it is a million times better than that first trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
And garbage.
Did you guys get basically like maybe the main plot line is? Do you think Carnage or Cletus is trying to like work together with him, and he's like no, or he's just trying to kill him?
I think he is a serial killer who's been given the gift of God, and he's a hellbent.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, what you'll see is he's a serial killer, big, horrible, big-time serial killer, and he's obsessed with his own crimes. Eddie Brock is the big profile person that he's so egotistical that he wants this guy to do his memoir, if you will. And then once he finishes it, he immediately goes to be executed, and somehow the Carnage symbiote is in the injection, and a la a Carnage is created.
Yeah, I thought maybe they might be going for like, join me type thing, like us two can just rule the world and kill everybody,
I think that's what's going to happen with Venom and Shriek.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because if you get Naomi Harris in this film, you better effing use her.
That was her in the car, right?
Yeah.
When the car was like doing something.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm sure Carnage will proposition Venom at some point, like join us, but it's gonna be like no. So I don't know. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Just I don't know. I'm just not into it. I don't know.
So I know. So what do you guys think about like the how Venom was afraid of the red symbiote? Like, is there some backstory to that in the comics or something?
I don't know about in the comics, but I'm pretty sure that. So in the comic books, if I have the number correct, or maybe even from the first movie, there were 7 that came down.
It's a rainbow, essentially.
Yeah, it is. It's not like the super bright rainbow, but it's very similar. But I believe that there were 7 of the symbiotes that came down, and they just essentially, in the comic books anyway, from what I understand, or maybe what I remember, they just selected people. Like they just ended up in the hands of people. But so they're already changing the backstory of Carnage, whether it's through the lethal injection or whether it is through him biting Eddie Brock. Like either way, it's still it's different from what the comic book says.
I'm sure they'll make the red one be the most dangerous of all.
What I was going to say is that these symbiotes, they're living creatures, like they are. The red one could very well be like this a murderer on their planet, or like this very dangerous one on their planet or wherever they're from.
You don't
that
mess
they
with
know
the red
about,
ones.
like that Venom knows about, and that Shriek knows about, or whatever. And that's kind of how it comes to be, right? It's like when the Autobots and Decepticons came to Earth, they knew who Megatron was, right? Like he was the big bad. I'm guessing Carnage is like going to be the big bad of their world.
And they're probably like the most dangerous ones, I'm assuming.
Yeah, like Scarlet Witch, like the the Scarlet Witch.
That's what I was thinking.
Like it's Carnage is like the red symbiote. Like that's
like basically all other magic fears the Scarlet Witch. Like probably
you
all
don't
the
want to mess with the red symbiote.
Fear the red symbiote. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
It would make sense. I mean, red, violence,
murder. I mean,
yeah. I do think though, getting the look of Carnage and the way he moves and all that stuff is important, and I think they nailed that so far.
And there's a big reason why. You have the king of motion capture as your director. I would not be surprised if that was motion captured.
Oh,
if
probably.
a lot of Carnage standing still or moving slightly is motion capture, I would not be surprised. That is the one thing I'm looking for this movie. You have to get the visuals. One of the biggest reasons why I hated the first movie, and I think I disliked it out of the five of us the most.
Probably, yeah.
I could not stand the VFX in the first movie.
Yeah, they were bad.
You couldn't tell who was who when they were fighting, when they were moving. The camera usage was really bad. It was just too fast and just all over the place. You have to be able to let us see who is who, let the visuals do their thing. And the trailer does a really good job of doing that because I think they look great. I really do think they look great.
They do. And the way the trailer looks, like the camera work, like you said, was a problem in the first movie at the end. It looks like the camera work is right in those action scenes. Like they look really well shot.
Hopefully.
So I'm hoping the movie is more of that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, that's all I got on that. All right, we got one more trailer to talk about. What is that, Jake?
We do. We have a very fun trailer, one that's been highly anticipated for quite a while, and that is House of Gucci. Ridley Scott's House of Gucci with Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Al Pacino, Jared Leto, among many others. We got our first look at this film just a few days ago. And if you know the Gucci story, you know exactly what it's all about. We're going to talk about it, discuss it, have some thoughts on it. None of us have talked to each other about this one, so I'm very interested to see what everyone thinks. Brian, why don't you kick us off?
I am obsessed with this. I have watched the trailer probably 10 to 15 times.
Jesus.
I love it. Give me my Italian roots. Yeah, that's it. That's an easy win for me. Give me a little murder mystery. This cast is insane. Their accents. I know people were like, "Yeah, they're the worst." I'm like, I don't care.
They're actors. Like, come on.
Yeah, I could care less, honestly. Like, whatever. Like, it doesn't faze me, and that didn't bother me at all. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm really, really excited about this. Way more than I am Venom, but yeah. I think the thing that gets me is the cast and a good high profile, not family, but I guess company or whatever. A real life crime. That's what it is. Like a real life crime drama type stuff. Like I've seen like all the American Crime Story shows that FX does. That stuff. I'll probably always watch those things. So I'm trying like really hard not to go look up like the results.
The real story.
Yeah. I think I feel like when it first was announced, I looked and I kind of have it, but it was so long ago that I'm not 100% sure. and I'm trying so hard to not go look it up because I'm like, let it be a surprise. But I'm so into it. So into it. I will be seeing it the night it comes out.
This is what scares me about it. Does anybody remember this movie?
I have never seen it, so.
Wasn't it terrible?
It wasn't terrible. There was the Mark Wahlberg film where Kevin Spacey's role with Christopher Plummer, and then I believe it was Michelle Williams was in the role of the lead for the female. It feels very similar. It was a real life crime, and by the same director, Ridley Scott. And we talked about Ridley Scott not too long ago, 2 weeks ago, when his other movie, The Last Duel trailer, came out with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Adam Driver. He is also in that movie. Ridley Scott scares me. He really does. Like, there's some times where his stuff is amazing, very few times in the past number of years, and there's some times where it's just like very hard to watch. All the Money in the World wasn't very hard to watch, but I will say this: the one thing that really does make me nervous is that the trailer for that movie was awesome. It was great. It felt very interesting, real life crime. Like, it was very fast moving. The movie was awfully slow. It was painfully slow. And I'm afraid that this movie is going to be very similar in that sense, where the trailer gives off a vibe, but the actual movie itself moves at a much slower pace. I think Lady Gaga looks great. She does. She is. I think she might be one of the best music artists transferred to actresses or actors that we've ever seen, period. There's a handful of them, but she's one of them, and she only has so many movies under her belt, or roles, I should say. Adam Driver, obviously, you don't have to argue against him, as well as the rest of the cast. I think that's no issue. Everyone looks fantastic in their roles. The only hesitancy I have is Ridley Scott at this point, and that's a bummer because it's the director, and it makes me a little nervous. But I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to be really good. And I hope it is, because there's not a lot of movies that are made like this. You don't get a lot of real life crime stories in this vein, and I hope it's going to worth check out. So
there's always a good story with one of these fancy Italian brands. You have Murder of Versace, this with Gucci. I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, it's crazy that like those are two of the hugest designer brands, and they have these stories. So I don't have like a huge attachment to this, or like I don't really know the whole story. I knew there was drama around the family and stuff, but I like the trailer. It feels very because look, it's about a family and this fashion company, and it kind of feels like you kind of have to make the movie feel like that, like very lavish and stylish, and kind of not the same way, but like how the most recent Great Gatsby movie was very stylish and all. You kind of got to make it.
Please don't make it like that.
I'm not saying make it like that, but I'm saying you got to make it a little flashy, Oh no,
I like the Great Gatsby, but that's like an overload of flash.
Oh, it is.
Right,
it is.
Yeah.
See, that's like 110% flash. You don't need that. You don't need that. But I'm just saying that you need to make it a little bit like that, very flashy. But then also, it's not too flashy, though, from the trailers. It looks very grounded as well. Like, it's still like a real life situation. Like, The Great Gatsby feels like a fantasy, that movie does. This feels real, but also, with some very good characters and stuff. So I don't really know what's going on in the trailer. Like, it looks good, though. And for me, it's weird. Like, Adam Driver is just one of the best out there. And nowadays, like, I'm not saying he's never going to be anything bad anymore, but like, he can choose anything he wants to do these days. And for him to, like, he's working with Ridley Scott twice. So that makes me feel better about both projects, to be honest, because I don't know if he signed on to both at the same time, but obviously if one went well, he probably was looking forward to the next one. So to have him in there, and who cares about their accents? Like, it's probably going to come across a lot better in the full movie and everything like that. But yeah, well, who better than Lady Gaga to star in this? She's an icon herself, and with this iconic family and stuff. So that's interesting. And what Brian mentioned about like the real life crime drama stuff, that's really cool too, because people love that stuff, like the O.J. Simpson miniseries they did, and all those kind of things.
If you have never watched the American Crime Story, the trial of O.J. Simpson, do yourself.
And they did the Versace one too, right?
Yep. Versace one was okay. O.J. Simpson one is a masterpiece. You need to immediately go watch.
No, I heard it's amazing. So like, if they can do like a movie, get that kind of hype around a movie like this, I think it could be something pretty big. And when does it come out? Do you think they're eyeing Oscars for this?
November.
Well, I don't know about Ridley Scott. He can always pull some, something magical.
Well,
but
The Martian was nominated for Oscars.
Yeah, it was. So, but at least the performances, like, Lady Gaga.
It was also nominated for comedy at the Golden Globe.
Yeah.
This is 100% an Oscar.
So I'm thinking about performances though. The Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, who else? Who knows? Jeremy Irons does something crazy. So I could see those actors getting some attention come Oscar time. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm not as excited as Brian. I'm actually like, Brian got me more excited for it. Like, I like hearing that he's like really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm intrigued, but not like, it's not a must see for me, but I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah. And Ferris, it is based on a book, because I do remember hearing that Gucci was pissed that this movie was being made, because it's like it's one of those books that like people write without their permission about.
Oh, so the movie's based on the book, so he can't be mad. Like, he can't do anything about it because it's
it's
based on the book.
Yeah, I mean, it's the events are public knowledge, but the fact, at the same time, you still get leeway when writing things.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. All right, well, if we have no last thoughts on these last two trailers, let's move on.
That was the word I was looking for. Unauthorized biography.
Yeah, let's move on to our main topic, talking some MCU variants. And Jake, you came up with this wonderful idea, so I'll let you kind of introduce it.
Yeah, so obviously with Loki wrapping up just a few weeks ago, and that show opening the doors to variants in all forms for the MCU going forward. Plus, we have What If coming out next week. I thought it'd be fun to have a little conversation about possible variants that we could see in the future, being that, and look, we don't know what the plan is, obviously. They have some master plan out there.
They haven't told us yet.
Yeah, but it almost seems like variants are the near future, at least the immediate future. Maybe not a long-lasting future, but the immediate future. What If has been confirmed to be at least 2 seasons. And keep in mind, those characters are variants. Those are variants of the Prime timeline. And so we're going to talk about live action possibilities for these variants, because we did see it in Loki, a number of them. What other characters could we see in live action? They could be comic book derivative. They can also be just creations that we want to see. How do they fit into the universe? What kind of stories could they tell? The impact that it'll all have on the MCU going forward, just because it could be a giant impact. There's a possibility we see it in December with Spider-Man No Way Home, that Spider-Man has 2 variants, and those variants are Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Yeah. Like that's probably the next time that we'll see the variants pop up. And so outside of those characters, who could we see? Could we see an Okoye variant, or or a Thunderbolt Ross variant, or just throwing a Red Guardian variant? I don't know. Like, what are the possibilities of these characters showing up? What does it mean for the universe, and how much of an impact? I just kind of want to have the door open for us to talk, sit back as we would sitting in front of a movie theater before the show starts or something. Let's just open the floors. I mean, the MCU has a lot of stuff coming, so there's a lot of possibilities. But what do we think that could be happening with variants here in the future outside of the ones that we know of right now?
Well, I mean, I feel like anything Spider-Man's on the table. Like that's obvious. Just
I think that's already a lock, probably.
yeah.
And obviously, everything in Loki seems to be a lock, and everything in What If seems to be a lock.
Yeah, I mean,
and this also opens up a cool idea. What if Miles Morales could be a variant of Peter Parker instead of actually the character being introduced? Like,
I think they would want to give him his own. Well, no, because he already exists in the timeline. Remember, in Spider-Man: Homecoming,
his cousin exists. We haven't seen Miles yet.
He says, "My little nephew Miles."
Well, yes, but he hasn't become Spider-Man yet. Remember, he doesn't have to be Spider-Man in that universe. It could be another universe.
Yeah, but if he exists, he can't be
so
the same.
So that Miles
Spider-Man.
could just be a regular kid, and then the variant one is Spider-Man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, anything technically Marvel property has the opportunity if it's already been made. I mean, X-Men is on the table. I really don't see them wanting to use X-Men. I think they want X-Men and Fantastic Four to be completely new to them.
I'd agree.
So if they did pull anything, it's going to be someone or something that's super selective. Like, I mean, I don't count Deadpool because he's not in.
Well, I would say like if they like a Hugh Jackman Wolverine would be like something like just him and that's it, you know.
Bye, Paris. To be honest, the first ones that come to mind immediately would be Magneto and Professor X. Either variation. Like if we're talking like pulling like what from ones we already know, I think that those two to me would probably stand a good chance.
So you're saying both movie versions?
I mean, either one, because both, let's be honest, both castings of Magneto and Professor X are fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, either way, I'm not going to be disappointed seeing younger or older because they're both so perfect.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
What?
That is a great idea.
What if you get a good Mysterio?
Oh, I will lose my mind.
So like a good version of the Jake.
I will buy another one of these. Except
that would be dope. I mean, look, he could be a part of a. He could be a part of a team as a good Mysterio that kind of does good things, but isn't like the supervillain that we saw in Far From Home. That would be cool. Like it's a great opportunity to bring people back that had one-offs or maybe played a villain that could play a good guy or vice versa.
True. And Maddie just reminded me that, which we probably...
Dude, yes, give me Nick Cage!
Yeah. See, now, I kind of want the Norman Reedus one.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that on a casting table.
But
this is also a really cool way remember, keep this in mind, this is also a really cool way to bring in both Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix heroes.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of wanted to bring up.
I was going. Yeah.
Well, remember before Endgame how like we used to say, oh, it'd be so cool if like Hugh Jackman was in the MCU, and but like we're like it's never gonna happen. So now at the MCU, literally in like a year or whatever, they flipped the script and literally made all of this possible now. Like they can do anything.
Can I ask?
With WandaVision, with Loki, they can do anything now.
Let me ask you guys, you two's opinion. Would you want Hugh Jackman to come back as Wolverine?
I'm so torn on that.
Maybe for one movie. That's it.
I'm so torn on that.
See, I kind of don't want him at all.
I would love to see him for just one movie, and then that's it. It just happened. We got it. We can move on with the new Wolverine.
Like for some reason he had to be involved, and then
he's a variant from like Earth 97 or something.
Yeah,
like that's just boom.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even mind if it's not the one who died in Logan. It's just it could be a different variant. Even it could.
The more that I'm thinking about what I said with the Magneto Professor X, I feel like it would have to be the younger ones. Which
It depends. If it's one movie, they could bring the older ones in. If they want to keep them around at all, probably the younger ones, I would think.
I don't know about you two, but I would be totally okay with Fassbender and McAvoy becoming those
characters in the MCU.
I would too, but at the same time, I almost feel like, again,
those characters need new stories.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It's not that I don't want to see them. I feel like everything that's MCU has to be prime timeline, right? It has to be the main timeline. They would be variants, and I wouldn't want the story focusing on the variants rather than our Magneto and Professor X.
Well, look at this. So Gamora from Endgame, right? She's a variant. So and now because of what happened, she's stuck in prime.
Well, and there were two nebulas as well too.
So what you could do is you could have an event, right? Like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. For some reason, James McAvoy is there.
Well, actually, I don't think Gamora would be considered a variant. She's from the past. She's not from a different universe.
But those different timelines, when something else happens, they branch off. So when they showed up there and messed up whatever they were doing, because they got in a fight with them, right? And they were all on a mission.
That's
a new timeline branched. So from that timeline, they came to our timeline, and they're variants.
I don't think that's a different. I would disagree with that because.
Well, then they could just keep going back in time.
But all the variants are different timeline characters.
But Sylvie wasn't from the prime timeline.
But I'm saying, like, if they wanted
Classic Loki wasn't from the prime timeline. Our Loki was from the prime timeline. Gamora, both the one that died and the one that was in Endgame, were both from the prime timeline.
Okay, so but look,
but then Loki, you could just keep going back.
Loki
and grabbing
was in the prime timeline until he took the Tesseract and went away. He created another timeline, and then he became a variant
because he wasn't. But because he wasn't supposed to do that.
But he was in the original timeline, though.
They said in the show, everything that the Avengers did as far as going back in time was supposed to happen, which didn't make it a Nexus event. So she wasn't a variant.
In Endgame, when they go back in time to take the Infinity Stone, that wasn't supposed to happen. So they messed it up.
But
they said in Loki that everything that happened in Endgame was supposed to happen, which is why it wasn't a Nexus event.
I mean,
so there were two Gamoras though. So so she was a variant, but it's kind of hard to explain. Like everything.
I don't think she's a variant. I don't think she was a variant. That's my opinion. I don't think.
Technically, she should be though, because she is not the original Gamora.
Exactly. She doesn't have her memories. No,
she is the original Gamora, but she's from 5 or 6 years ago. That's what I'm.
Yeah, but that's not the one that we.
But she's not from a different timeline. She's from the same timeline.
Okay, so then why couldn't they just go back and grab Black Widow and just put her back in?
But Jake, your argument, Loki's from the same timeline too.
Yeah. And he's a variant.
Our Loki isn't a variant. He's the main Loki.
Yeah,
he's the main Loki. That's what I'm getting at. All the other Lokis are variants, not him.
But he literally walks around wearing a jacket saying variant the whole entire series.
But he's the main Loki. He's the born and bred.
No, so he became a different Loki at that time because the regular timeline still went on where Loki ended up dying.
John.
Because he did something he wasn't supposed to do. The Avengers, everything that happened, Gamora coming to the future was supposed to happen. Not making her a variant.
If whatever happened with Gamora wasn't supposed to happen, she would be a variant. But they're saying it was supposed to happen. So, but that's just Kang deciding that wasn't supposed to happen. You know, so leave that Gamora alone.
But that's what I mean. She's not considered a variant.
So basically, they let that variant live in the main timeline, basically,
because she wasn't a variant.
Yeah, I mean, honestly. None of us really know. None of us really know.
I know.
No, I know.
I would say for what I'm looking at it, and I get what you're saying, Jake. I still think she is, because her path that was happening at that point, she was full-fledged Thanos, and then right at the end changed to fight with the Avengers, and then we have no idea now where the hell she is, what she's doing.
She's in the prime timeline somewhere.
So I don't know. Whatever. There's a bajillion more characters we could be talking about than
This is
the
what
one
I was
that
hoping for when I made this. This is exactly.
No, it's a
And I
fun
love
conversation.
this you. Like I'm hyped. Let's go. What's the
No,
next one?
it's fun. So I don't know about you guys, but speaking of Thanos, I would love to see a good Thanos.
You are gonna see. I don't know if you're gonna see a variant Thanos, but you're gonna see.
You're gonna see the
early
good Thanos,
Thanos.
the good of the Thanos that we know in Eternals.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically it's just young Thanos then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Before
I
he
wrote
went psycho.
Yeah, Jake. I
wrote
wouldn't use the term
young
good
Thanos
ever
or
with
good
him.
Thanos.
What did he?
But-
What did he call himself in Infinity War? He called himself a. What was the word he used?
Prophet? No, not a
A
prophet.
prophet. Yeah, he called
Was it
himself
a prophet?
Oh, look at you
Yeah.
pulling a 3-pointer, maybe even a 5.
Yeah, he
I've-
called himself
hey,
a prophet. And
MCU all day.
So, yeah, I, it would be interesting. Like, okay, well, here's the thing. What if, and great segue, because we're gonna be What If next week. We do see Gamora Thanos in What If, right?
That I almost cursed. That is going to be wild. Because-
She's wielding the sword. She's
Yes.
got the armor. What if? And this is exactly what the show is meant to say. What if we see the good Thanos in that show?
I think she's going to
Good.
murder him.
So do I.
I think she's going to straight up
That's
murder
exactly
him
what I think is
and
gonna
take
happen.
over his.
And then she becomes like the one who takes on his mission, basically.
It's like the Sith in the MCU, right? She became so powerful she had to kill her master.
Yeah,
I can see that.
that's going to be dope. And
But
you
it's
know,
interesting though, because we saw her fighting with. Did we see her fighting with T'Challa? Right?
when
In one of the trailers, they did the shot of the original Avengers circle, and then it transferred.
oh
into-
yeah, it did like a weird.
Wasn't she alongside T'Challa?
I don't know. I never froze it long enough to look at it, but it was just.
I don't know. Either way, I'm stoked to see all that crap.
Yeah,
And
that's
you know,
amazing.
we kind of talked about it, but
Hey, John.
basically, when they announced What If, I was like, oh, it's just like a little side thing that's like separate,
No,
right?
It was announced today that it's canon.
And it's
Yeah.
basically like, no, these are multiverse stories.
And
Yep.
the
Is what
reason
they
why they
are.
never said anything is because they are waiting for Loki to be revealed.
Yep.
100%.
And now they're like multiverse canon, basically, which is
100%.
Well, and
These
then
are
that-
all variants.
crazy.
These
And
are all
that's why the Watcher is an actual thing in this show.
Yep.
That should have been the first clue, was the fact that they put the Watcher and they could have cast anyone to be the Watcher. He literally just sits there, but they got a big name to be the Watcher and voice it. So that should have been like the first clue, because he's literally watching these multiversal stories happen as they play out. I will say to who said that Thanos a good version? Jacob?
yeah.
So that is not completely far off. I don't think it would happen in live, but I'm literally reading a comic right now. It's called Marvel Mech Strike, and they essentially like use Transformer suits, because Kang is attacking with this ginormous army of these indestructible monsters, and the only way that they could defeat him is getting Thanos to help them. But I won't spoil it for those. But so
I would love to see Thanos go after Kang.
And there
Is that
are
what
many
is that what
times.
the Thanos helicopter? The Thanos copter?
this
Screw
is
it.
new. This I think it just ended like this month. I have comics over there where he's doing good things.
Endgame is main version.
yeah, true,
that's
true.
100%. I have comics. I forget which one it is. I think in Infinity War, there's a good and a bad Thanos that is in the comics. So, I mean, it's not far off that they could use him. I highly doubt that they would use him
Yeah, I don't think they will either.
live action, because then it kind of diminishes your
true.
big bad. But I mean, hell, in the animated, why not? You could literally do anything with the animated. Why the hell not?
Okay, so I want to ask, because I have one, and I wanted to ask, what are everyone's thoughts? Like, what is like one character that you think is a really, really good choice or idea to have a variant inside this universe? Whether it's for a movie, whether it's for a single story, multiple stories. I have one. I want to say right off the bat, and I hope,
Because I have a feeling you might have mine.
Hydra Cap.
Yeah, that's mine.
I wrote it down. It wasn't my top choice, but I wrote it down.
Hydra Cap. I want to see Hydra Cap for sure.
The Secret Empire one.
Yeah, I want to see full blown Hydra Cap. Just that suit.
So you want it in live action, right?
That's a way you get Chris Evans back.
Yeah,
exactly.
What if?
And it's not. And it's not
him.
It's not his character
it's
either.
Not
like,
the Steve Rogers that we knew. It's
diminish,
a completely different timeline or something.
It doesn't diminish his.
Well, he was taken instead of Bucky.
Yeah, that's what happens, right? Yeah,
he was taken instead of Bucky.
Give me a Cap Bucky versus.
Imagine, that's what I'm saying. Imagine the roles flipped.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like the Winter Soldier was America's hero, but he has maybe he's called something else because the Winter Soldier is kind of a dark term anyway.
Yeah.
And then Cap was the Russians, bad guy. But although in Secret Empire, he was Captain America for most of his life, and then he turned.
Yeah.
Because he was a secret.
So would you want that Hydra Cap somehow ends up in the main timeline?
No, I think I'd want it for like a story or something.
Just like one movie.
Yeah, but I would love to see it in live action. Like if there was ever an effing possibility they can do What If in live action, that would be the place to tell.
Well, we know rumors that Chris Evans signed on for more movies. What if it's for Hydra Cap? Like that would be crazy.
Can you imagine
I'm going to say this once. I would shit my pants.
Oh,
I'm using my one curse word right then and there.
He would play such a good like bad guy Cap too.
I would love it to like go for like a movie where you think he's back as a good guy, and then second movie you're like seeing some shady stuff, and then you're like at the end it's like Hail Hydra. I would lose.
It would just it would have to be. It would have like if we went Brian's route where he was in it for a movie or two, it would have to be down the line a little bit to break.
Yeah, not anytime soon.
Like, can you imagine? Like,
no, I get it,
Steve.
I get it.
Like seeing like them. They think he's back, but it's really like a plant from. Oh my god.
Or like, what about and I don't know if this would be considered like a variant. I guess it would be. A story where Carol Danvers was never taken by the Kree. That's a variant story. And she's on Earth the entire time, and she uses her powers her entire life to work with S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff.
So she still gets her powers, but she never left, basically.
What if Janet Van Dyne never died, quote unquote, in the original Ant-Man, right? That's
or maybe she actually did full on die.
Or maybe she full on did die. Yeah, that's possible. That's a variant story. I mean, there's or vice versa. What if Corey Stoll's Yellow Jacket was actually a good guy and was Ant-Man, or he was considered Yellow Jacket?
I don't think we're done with him. So
no, I don't think we are either. No,
yeah,
I don't think we are either.
So I have a cool one.
By the way, you're a jerk because you 100% knew I was going to go for that, so you immediately went for it.
No, I didn't. No.
Hey, we gotta let Jake have the Cap one. Come on,
get the F out of here. And he knew in his eyes, like when I was getting going.
You video listeners know the real thing. You audio listeners, no, I did not.
Yeah, he was like, just let me get mine first. And I knew immediately that's where you were going.
I don't think anyone's going to have this next one that I got, but I don't know if it'd be a variant or like a flashback or something, but I would love to see Hela, like, but with Mjolnir.
Ooh.
With Mjolnir.
Ooh.
Like, I would love to see that.
She never went bad and she was never buried by Odin.
Yeah. What if she, because you know how they were like, her and Odin were like tyrants, right? They were taking over worlds. What if she like turns on Odin and is like, no, you're bad. Like, you're doing something wrong.
King and like,
yeah,
and she killed Odin, like and that. She's like really the Odin.
I think what Jacob's saying is like she killed Odin because Odin was becoming like the Mad King.
Because Odin was basically a bad guy before he became a good guy.
That's good. I want more Kate Blanchett as Hela. Like I've always wanted that.
Because
so I'm on board with that.
That's part of the reason why I love. Yeah, that's why I love Thor Ragnarok. Or part of the reason is just because like that reveal when she breaks down the roof thing and you see her holding Mjolnir and those.
That was an incredible reveal.
Oh my god! I'm like,
incredible reveal.
So she was worthy at one point. So I want to see that, except she stayed like she was never banished or anything like that. She stayed good. That's what I'm
still not convinced we're done with her.
I don't think so either.
She's very powerful.
Although I will say she was literally stepped on by Surtur.
I know.
And the planet blew up at the same time. So.
I know. It's just like
she's one of the characters you wanted to see more than once, right?
Yes.
Oh, and here we go. Here's a good one. Speaking of that movie, what if the original Valkyrie we got from the comics never died? Tessa Thompson's girlfriend.
Yeah, I was just about to.
Well, I said the original because the original is a blonde, and her girlfriend was hinted at as being the original from the comics, the blonde. What if she had never died?
I almost want to go grab my comic and just.
That'd be a cool story. Like we saw the original Valkyrie. And just to answer real quick, Star Drew, he's not coming back in live action, but Michael B. Jordan's coming back in What If. I don't know if he's voicing the character, but Killmonger is going to be King of Wakanda in What If.
I think he is voicing him, yeah.
So that's kind of in a way getting back to.
That's basically what we're getting. But
is he King of Wakanda, or does he just work with Iron Man?
No, he's King of Wakanda. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Star Drew's saying he could be Johnny Storm as well. Like if they wanted to do that. So we talked about new Fantastic Four. I would love to see the Josh Trank Fantastic Four back as variants because I love that cast. It was a great cast.
I think the cast was perfectly casted, and they just unfortunately were set up in a terrible movie that was destined to fail. I would love to see it. I don't think it'll ever happen.
No.
But I do think it would be very, very cool to see that. There's also another thing you can do as well. This also opens the door to recast or bring back the Inhumans, the show, like those characters.
Dear God, please.
The show was terrible, but the cast actually wasn't that bad. The cast was actually really good, and so that's always a possibility as well.
Oh, you want to keep those people? I want new ones.
I like them.
You need a better Black Bolt.
He is legit.
You need a name for Black Bolt.
He is a name. He's Captain Pike in Star Trek.
As far as keeping though, like something that was kind of supposed to be the MCU, but then wasn't, Netflix characters like it.
That would be my number one choice.
We've talked about it so many times, but obviously Charlie Cox.
I would want it to happen where he's a variant, right? Where Charlie Cox is a variant, but he ends up like Sylvie, where he ends up in the prime timeline. Like because I can't have Charlie Cox for just one movie and they be done with him. Like I need him for like 8 years.
See, that's the opposite. Yeah, it's like the opposite of what we want for Hugh Jackman.
I need him for like ever.
Yes. I think you need.
Same with Wilson Fisk. I needed them like forever.
Oh yeah.
I think how you deal with Daredevil is
and this too. That too.
Yeah. Those two have to be back.
Like it has to be those three: Vincent D'Onofrio, John Bernthal, and Charlie Cox. Like I have to have those three.
I really want Jessica Jones.
You know what?
She would be my fourth choice.
I do think that they'll find a way. Well, they already are in a way. I do think they're already in the prime timeline. I think they're in the prime timeline.
See, okay.
I don't think they need to be variants. I think Charlie Cox. I think Vincent D'Onofrio. I think all those people. Christian Ritter. I think they are prime timeline characters.
I mean, you could get away with like.
What about Ben Affleck's Daredevil?
I thought about that too. So the Netflix series. Netflix series. There's 2 Luke Cage actors who have been in the MC that are going to be in the MCU or have been. But you can just say who cares? They're 2 different characters, just like Gemma Chan, right? She's playing 2 characters in the MCU, so you could just say that. Who cares?
I mean, if you want to find easy ways, I don't know how you get the other ones, but easy ways, I guess you can get Daredevil and Punisher is Daredevil. Oh, see, now I can't remember. Was Daredevil comic accurate where he got the acid
guys in the acid with oil and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So Maybe he dies from the acid or something in normal timeline. Punisher, he got killed with his family. Those ones are dead. So there's
here's
two outs
why
for
I
that.
think that they're prime timeline. If you go back and watch a show, which is funny, I just restarted my rewatch of Daredevil like a week ago. I'm only 2 episodes in. This show is just.
I need to do that.
Anyway,
that's a very good idea.
In the first season, and it kind of dwindled out over the next few seasons. But in the first season, there is references to what was called the event in the show because they couldn't actually say it, which was the Battle of New York. It was on posters in the wall. It was in newspapers. That's true. All you need to say that, yes, this is prime timeline characters. That is
they put out a poster with the Avengers Tower in the background of a Daredevil promotion.
Need. They are, to me, they are prime timeline characters going forward. We just have not seen them.
The only thing...
And Cottonmouth is dead.
Pumped. So. Give me Foggy Nelson. Give me Electro. Just give them all.
Hey, remember we were mad when they killed Cottonmouth? Now we're not, because then you could have Blade come in and
maybe
no
Blade
problem.
is a variant of Cottonmouth.
Maybe.
I wish I could just pick and pull from Daredevil.
Just like why you don't like Foggy Nelson or something?
You don't like Foggy Nelson?
They kind of got boring to me.
You don't like Thor from Mighty Ducks? What?
Well, look, you can reinvent
Punisher was great. I love
reinvent them.
Yeah,
you got to get the same actors, man.
I guess I need them to finish that Bullseye story though.
Yes, I forgot about Bullseye. He was so good.
The show was canceled they were going into season 4, and that was going to be the story.
That's what I need is that Bullseye, because that guy was great. I don't know who he was. I don't think I can name you anything he's been in since, but he was really good as Bullseye.
He was great, and that office fight in season 3.
Well, here's the best way that you can describe Daredevil season 3.
Yes, Maddie, we can definitely recast Iron Fist.
Daredevil never wore his suit once in season 3, and it might have been the best season of the series.
His best.
He didn't.
Bullseye wore it. He never wore his red suit once in that series.
What about at the end fight? What is he wearing?
He was wearing his old school black with the bandage around his eye.
Oh, he was.
This was his best suit, in my opinion.
That's season 1, right?
Yep.
See, I think season 2's details are a little bit better for me, but they're basically identical. But what I was saying is, the fact that you can have your main character not wear his iconic suit for a whole season and it be considered one of the greatest seasons of Daredevil out of the 3, that means you're doing it right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I need to sit next to Jacob at No Way Home
So Jacob, you need to be in between Brian and I because we know exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get out of your seat and cry and probably shit yourself. I used to try. I'm sorry. When you see Charlie Cox on screen.
Oh my God!
So was I.
I want to fully embrace the
deal. Can we make that pact right now? You're sitting in between both of us.
I'll sit between you guys.
Jake wants to make it so that he doesn't have to sit by me during the movie, but I'm kidding.
That's
his whole motivation. Hey,
okay, I have a question,
Jake, and you're gonna get the tickets, so we'll do it.
Yeah, I get to choose where I want to sit. Damn it. I have a question. This is thank you to Star Drew to this. What if No Way Home isn't the first time we see a variant? What if we do see Iron Fist and Shang-Chi? What if he's in that battle? What if he's in that fight scene? What the club, the Fight Club?
I mean, he would fit.
I would not.
That would be insane.
Wait, weren't him and his friend traveling the world or something at the end of season?
They were going to China or Japan.
Yeah, so it would actually make sense.
I don't think they reused Iron Fist. I would not be surprised if they dropped mention of
Calling Wing.
Oh God, yes. Keep her.
Remember, she got the powers.
Yes. She was the best part of that show.
We were saying make her Iron Fist going forward.
I will say, I did like the brother sister bad guys. They were pretty good.
Well, the brothers from an incredible show. Oh my God, why am I blanking on the name?
They were like his friends growing up, right?
Downton Abbey, is he?
No. So Homelander, the guy who plays Homelander, was in a show that I watched, and oh my God, I cannot believe I'm forgetting the name at this moment.
Wait, that's Homelander?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say
Homelander.
how did I miss
Homelander was in a show, and the guy who played the brother that you're talking about was an ex-Nazi, and he played a cop. And he was an
Not the Man in the High
incredible
Castle, is
character.
it?
Huh?
Not the Man in the High Castle? I'm trying to think of Nazi shows.
I'm gonna look it up because it's I'm gonna look it up.
It's gonna bug you until you figure it out.
It's gonna bug the crap out of me. Hold on.
I would not be surprised if
Banshee.
No.
Thank you, Banshee.
Whatever.
He plays a cop in Banshee, and it's that guy, the brother, and Homelander are buddies in the show, and they go around just wreck shop with violence. It is violent, and I highly recommend it. So go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped a name of some type of Iron Fist or something. I'm having such a brain fart of the mystical place. It's not Kamartosh. It gets destroyed in season 2.
Of Iron Fist?
No. It disappears.
Or disappears,
Oh,
yes.
the place that he goes to.
Kunlun.
Okay, that's it.
Kunlun.
That I would not be surprised, especially if you maybe not the Iron Fist, but I would not be surprised if that gets name dropped.
I will say this: Netflix, you're a bunch of BS assholes for canceling those shows on such cliffhangers. Like F you.
Every single one of them,
F
too.
you. Literally F you.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew for sure it was gonna end, but yeah, they all end on cliffhangers, right?
Yeah.
Daredevil,
I never finished
especially.
last season of Jessica Jones. I need to, but
I think I did all of them, but the second season of Luke Cage.
I watched it all.
I think I watched the first episode of second season Luke Cage, and I just was not into it.
I didn't finish Jessica Jones season 3. Right, was the last one.
Mm-hmm. That was a good ending.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, I need to finish it because I
don't
love
remember it.
what's
The
her
sister.
name? Her best
Remember
friend
the
or whatever.
sister?
No.
Or the friend sister.
Her best friend, and she has a what's her name?
Hellcat.
Hellcat.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Like last time I left off, she got the powers, and it was like I just never finished.
It was-
Yeah.
She went on a murder spree.
Trish. Yeah. She was good. That
I
was
love
a good.
that character.
I really would not mind if they brought back Purple Man with
David Tennant was his
yes.
name, right? Yeah, he was so good.
He was a good God, there's so many good aspects of the Netflix that
Well, that's the thing. Like,
do this.
if
But
they were
that's
just
what I'm
like,
getting at. Like the variant possibility.
No, absolutely.
Has now opened the door to us being like, well, these characters don't have to technically be in the main timeline, but we can see them again in some capacity.
I will say this, since Gio's not here, and it's pretty funny. The thing that always made me laugh was I always said, and you can answer John's question if you want, Jake. I always told Gio, like, the one thing DC is going to do is beat us to the multiverse and whatever, because they announced Flash so long ago, and I was like, DC's going to establish the multiverse. It's going to look great because they're pretty good with that. Which, I mean, if you want to count Arrow, I guess, yes, they did. But, like, Marvel's in the full swing, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm actually digging this whole idea of multiverse because I was afraid of it. I thought it was going to muddle.
well, they're both like going for it, but Marvel has the better foundation to build.
I was just going to say, and I would say this with Gio here as well. It was never a race to who can get there first. It was never a race. It is who has, and Jacob put it perfectly, who has the better foundation to tell these stories. After Feige and the whole crew finished the Infinity Saga with Endgame and all that storyline, Far From Home, etc. This everything that wrapped up what we knew about the Gauntlet, the Stones, Thanos, all of it. Now they are working themselves towards something that is huge, much bigger. And we talked about this the second this ended. That whole section ended. We said, okay, they finished it. They're moving on to space. They're going in deeper than we ever knew. They're going bigger. And it is clearly being bigger than we even thought it would be because the multiverse is literally endless. The possibilities are hugely just way out there, like way out there for possibilities. And DC is going to do it well. I think The Flash is probably one of the most, I will say that out of the DCEU movies, The Flash has the most prospects of being good, and it's a multiversal story. And John, to answer your question, I'm drinking a High West Old Fashioned.
I will say, the one thing I appreciated with DC is, for me, I always understood.
Damn right you can, Rachel. Damn right.
I always was able to understand DC's multiverse. It's pretty simple and it's pretty straightforward. Like, how I picture it is kind of like this. Like, there's literally like 1, 2. It's just literally like an Earth like this. It's just 1, 2, like a bunch like that. Marvel's has always been kind of befuddled. Like, it has been very confusing. Like, it always seems, and if you're a comic book reader, it always seems kind of like this. Like, it's just like all over the place, and you're just like, okay. Marvel probably needed the foundation way more than DC did when building the multiverse. I think with Marvel, you couldn't do how DC did, like Arrow did, where it was just like they just showed you like how it was. I think Marvel would have had a harder time had they not had a foundation first. Because DC's easy. There you can pull animated, you can pull movies, you can pull, what else did they pull? Like TV, like anywhere. DC has a long history of animated and TV and movies. Marvel, it was just kind of like, yeah, they had like the X-Men TV show, the Spider-Man TV show, and a couple of like Fantastic Fours and Spider-Mans, right? So Marvel's key of building the foundation, I think, is what is going to make theirs good. Because without it, I truly think it would have probably
because to care about all the craziness that comes with the multiverse, you have to care about the original universe first, right? So they had to build it. They had 20 plus movies invested in this main timeline, these main characters.
25.
Now you can just
24.
open it all up. And I do think they'll reel it back in eventually. Like, once, however many movies they're going to spend on this multiverse stuff, they'll reel it back in, I think.
I also just thought of something too. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, I just want to finish this. Well, the key thing is too also is DC has so many reincarnations of the same that you can pull. Marvel does not.
I see what like they have,
Marvel
a bunch of
doesn't do
Batmans.
3 Caps. Marvel doesn't do 4 Iron Man.
Yes.
They stick with the one. DC does tons of each.
And I mean, that is an advantage that DC has, because look at Flash. They are now going back and bringing back a Batman that people are going to flip their ever-loving mind over.
I mean, I already am.
You do not have that with Marvel. That is unique to DC. DC has the capability to pull a
example. It's Barry Allen, Wally West, Bart Allen. You know, you have all these Flashes. You have like 7 of them, and then you have.
Can you imagine if
Superman
if they did a Catwoman, brought back just even for one?
There's 2 or 3 of those.
People would flip their. I'm not talking the Halle Berry one, but people would lose their mind. Marvel does not have that, and that is an advantage to DC, where they don't have to establish a far back timeline. Marvel did, and that was something they needed to do before they even touched the stuff. So each one has its own excitement that you kind of get to look for, and it's not the same thing. They're kind of different. So I like that, because it's giving me like the same kind of idea, but different ends of the spectrum, it feels like. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and they each have a little bit of both too. Like Brian Nasbaum just brought up like the 3 Spider-Man. That's kind of like the Batmans or the Superman with DC. But DC has multiple examples of that, right? Where Marvel only has really one.
Marvel doesn't have a character that has what's called the Bat family. They don't have that.
Yeah.
Like they stuck to the one character and they repeatedly told stories of that character. And again, Spider-Man is out of the loop on that one. Spider-Man has those multiple characters, but that is really one of the very few, if the only one.
Spider-Man's the pinnacle.
Yeah,
like,
it's really literally the only character that really does that in Marvel, that has multiple versions of them, like a Batman or Superman or whatever.
So they'll both kind of succeed in their own ways.
I do want to touch on something, and I thought about this, and this.
Can you imagine, just really quick, God forbid, if Christopher Reeve was still alive, healthy, whatever, and they were able to do like, here's Christopher Reeve in the
we saw it in the Crisis on Infinite Earths in the Arrowverse with Brandon Routh and Tyler Hoechlin.
Yeah.
So technically, Brandon Routh is supposed to be Christopher Reeve, so they could
technically
use Brandon Routh.
But yeah, for sure.
But I see what you're saying, Brian. That people would lose their minds if Christopher.
It would be groundbreaking to have like the OG of comic book heroes. Like it sucks, but yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Jack. I didn't mean to
so we talked about the X-Men a little bit earlier. They were kind of the first ones we touched on, and it kind of just re-kicked something in my mind because both Maddie and Stardew said something in the chat. We talked about Professor X and Magneto being variants. And we talked about specifically having Fassbender and McAvoy back as those characters. I will say this, they wouldn't be variants. They would be Prime Timeline characters because Deadpool is officially canon inside the Prime Timeline. And we saw McAvoy in Deadpool 2. So he is a Prime Timeline character because we saw Deadpool Korg in a trailer reaction, which confirmed that he is canon.
I think
so what I'm saying, all I'm saying is that universe of X-Men, not Hugh Jackman's, but that universe of McAvoy and Jennifer Lawrence and them, they are the Prime Timeline.
Well, Hugh Jackman is too because they interacted with him.
Excuse me, Hugh Jackman. Yeah. And I guess all of them would be because they all kind of go through each other. But specifically James McAvoy because we did see him in Deadpool, and Deadpool is supposed to be canon inside the main MCU timeline.
You know what's funny too? We saw Quicksilver in that shot. In that
we did
movie
see Quicksilver.
Is it though? I
Ralph
feel like
Boner could be a variant from a different universe.
Yeah.
I feel like Deadpool's going to be Earth 2 pulled into.
They're gonna find a way that Deadpool's not from the main timeline.
I think he'll be main timeline.
Or possibly he literally is just he's been around and just now is making himself known or something like that.
Also.
They need to do Fox kills. Deadpool kills the Fox.
Yeah, we talked about this, and that was
and Jake. I will give that to you. Yeah, no,
I'm taking that to the grave. Marvel, if you do that, you better be paying me billions.
Yeah, no, I will give Jake credit on that one because like that literally, like how funny would that be if he did that and just like somehow like hopped into the main timeline, like literally.
He has the thing.
Yeah, that's
what if we find out that the TVA came after him after he did all this shit?
It's so funny. That was the end, like in the end credits of Deadpool 2. That was the last time we saw him. He was time jumping.
TVA comes after him and he meets up with Loki or something.
That's how he could be a variant, and they bring him into the main timeline.
Can you imagine if?
And Wade Wilson in the main timeline like died in battle or something, like in war.
Sure.
You know?
Or he died of his cancer.
Oh, he died of his cancer. There you go. Yeah.
What? Can you imagine? Just imagine if we would have watched Loki. Granted, they would have never done this.
And he was in line at a TVA?
Yes. If he was like in the background or in the line.
God, what a missed opportunity.
Can you
what a missed
imagine?
opportunity.
Like, you know how like people were freaking out about the like Peggy Carter, like possibly even just something like that. People would go insane. It would be talked about
that would have
for
been
months.
Oh my god! Or like just seeing
months.
Like you open I always forget his name, but the secretary guy.
His drawer, like open his drawer and you
what
see
if
something.
his drawer and like Deadpool's mask is sitting there?
See, I would have loved to see something like that, like Deadpool's swords or something, or his suit.
Yeah. Or
That would've
even
been
just like
cool.
this little logo from his
Or
belt
like,
or
like
something.
his drawing of him killing someone.
Oh, that would have been great.
Or his little recorder or something. Like
The little drawing that he did on the bridge. That
John
would have been
Pierce,
great.
I will give you every reason in the world to stop watching us right now and go watch it.
Yeah,
You have till next week.
especially the first one.
Welcome to the moving watching challenge.
Yeah, we're
Apocaflix
challenging
has
you
now
to watch
challenged
Deadpool
you
right now. Yeah.
to watch Deadpool.
Yeah.
Even if it's just the first one, watch the first one.
Marvel, you missed out on an opportunity.
Right? Can you imagine if you would have just seen like Deadpool like handcuffed just like in the background, just like people would have see the only reason is that would have completely overshadowed Loki. Like easily.
Yeah, true.
I mean, maybe for 1 week.
I mean,
Maybe for 1 week.
I hope somehow. I mean, I don't need it to be these X-Men that we know, but just like because I want to see Wolverine fight Hulk. I want to see the Thing and the Hulk fight. Like I want
That can be a variant story though.
I need to
Wolverine
see
and Hulk
those.
fighting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I need stuff like that.
So here's a possibility, and I know we would all want to see it. John, it's worth every penny of that already.
You can do the make it through the first one, and then Deadpool 2.5 is PG-13, right? Isn't
that's the Christmas version? It's poo-poo. Anyway, so once they do announce Fantastic Four and X-Men, what if like season 2 of What If is very heavy focus on those type of characters, and we see a Hugh Jackman come back to voice a Wolverine where he fights Hulk, or we see literally the comic accurate Logan where Hawkeye and Hulk or Hawkeye and Wolverine fight a Hulk war army, and like that's the type of stuff that we can see. It would be animation, but it would still be the stories that we could see.
Yeah. Definitely. I'll take that.
If Deadpool goes back and kills the Fantastic Four, he won't kill them all. He will specifically kill Chris Evans's Human Torch. There's no.
Yep.
That would be hilarious.
Jessica Biel doesn't, or not Jessica Biel. Jessica Alba doesn't act anymore. The other guy, who knows where he is, and no one cares about the Thing. He would literally go back and kill Chris Evans, and that's it. I'm trying to think of anyone else that other movies that he would like. You would absolutely need to see him kill.
Hugh Jackman. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's.
I feel like people. I mean, yeah, I guess. I feel like people might.
You can't kill Wolverine though. Remember, maybe just like stab him a couple times and then see what happens, and then.
Well, you can kill Wolverine. You cut off his head and burn him, but
yeah, I don't think Wolverine will.
I know it probably won't.
Marvel's going to be like
happen because the bad blood. But do you think there's any chance we would see it Ed Norton Hulk?
I think there's a possibility.
Ed Norton Bruce Banner.
I think there's more of a chance of seeing it in animation than live action.
I think animation. I agree. He burned that bridge pretty hard.
The question obviously becomes a little bit more apparent once we see Shang-Chi, because that is Ed Norton's Hulk Abomination. But what I think is happening right now is that was one of the few recasts that Marvel did. We saw it happen with Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle for Rhodey. I think they just recasted Edward Norton after the big battle of money. Same thing happened with Terrence Howard. They moved on to Mark Ruffalo, and it's the same exact Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
So I think
that makes sense because they're not different characters. They're literally the same guy.
Story, but I do think at some point we're going to need to see Liv Tyler.
Please give me,
because if we're seeing William Hurt, we need to see Liv Tyler.
Yes, for the love of
is this his daughter, right?
Yes.
Oh, so where's his daughter at?
Yeah. Exactly. I would be so happy. I love Liv Tyler.
I mean, look, having Abomination come back, and if it is in fact, oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? Jacob, help me out.
Tim Roth.
Tim Roth. Yeah. Thank you. If it is Tim Roth, obviously it'll be Abomination, right? We won't see Tim Roth, but if Tim Roth eventually does come back to play him, if he can transform or anything, then that gives us more hope. But we'll have more answers, or even.
I mean, we could see Tim Roth in Shang-Chi. We could.
We'll have more. We'll have more to go off of once we see that movie, because Abomination will be officially back in the MCU fold, and obviously William Hurt has been for a while, but they seem to be getting a little bit more friendly with the idea of the Incredible Hulk being a lot more involved inside the MCU. So.
Yeah. I mean, we're literally a month away, exact to the date to Shang-Chi. So
A date. Yeah, it is the 3rd today. Sorry, I thought
September.
you're
It's
right.
September 3rd.
Do you
I know
think-
that
I mean,
my
this
birthday's
is kind of not sticking to multiverse stuff, but do you think we'll ever see like Raging Hulk again? Are we just gonna get like Professor Hulk?
I think
It'll be She-Hulk.
Really?
She-Hulk, or maybe there's a way that they change the mythology and we get a Red Hulk. It won't be.
So you think our Hulk, Bruce Banner, is just he's gonna be like Professor Hulk going forward, basically?
I think his time is coming to an end as well.
They can't do much more with him because they can't make his.
Well, they can't make a solo movie.
Yeah,
That-
but
I
they can
think-
just.
I think
Yeah.
he's going to be in the She-Hulk show, and then he'll be probably in another movie at some point as Professor Hulk. But I do think that they'll find a way to make a separate character, Red Hulk.
That's So
Because
She-Hulk.
Incredible
You
Rock
knew-
is
yeah.
Red Hulk in the comics, and William Hurt's just a little older. They can obviously do it, but it would feel strange with William Hurt saying in the movies that he had triple bypass and he's limping around, and then he just becomes like Red Hulk all of a sudden.
No, I'm cool with them making She-Hulk the raging one,
yeah,
or
for sure.
and then Hulk's kind of more like Beast now, where he's more in the science stuff, but he comes out and fights when he has to.
And his story has gone on for so long, like it's okay to move on from it.
Yeah, he's been in a lot, but yeah.
I mean, She-Hulk's
curious.
definitely gonna be fighting with Titania because she's literally like a human Hulk.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's gonna be
fun.
good. I
No,
also
I'm
think
down
that
for that.
I also think She-Hulk's gonna be like probably not fighting as much. She's be like, this is so uncivilized, like that type of like.
She's
humor.
definitely that type of character where she is more of the let's use our words instead of fists type.
Well, yeah, she's a lawyer, so I mean, but I'm excited because things are gonna get interesting with Moon Knight coming and Miss Marvel. We know now is this year, November. No, Hawkeye. Hawkeye is
November, yeah.
So Miss Marvel literally might be October, maybe September. Probably late September when What If finishes.
Marvel
So-
or Miss Marvel?
Yeah.
I feel like they would have announced that if that was the case, because that's not that they would have had to start marketing by now.
They've already started. They just released a ginormous cutout of her.
But that's not like TV spots and stuff is what I'm saying.
It said late. I just saw a thing, Nussbaum, that said later this year, Miss Marvel. So, I mean, well, I don't know. We'll see. But
Because
excited.
What If is going to run 2 months, and that's all the way through. That's into October.
maybe I'm wrong. Last time I checked, it said that they were both this year. So,
Miss Marvel.
mhm.
It was supposed to be, but I don't know. I don't think the later ones have official release dates yet, right?
All I care about is get me through this Delta variant crap so that way I can get to my Eternals. I don't think I can live if it gets pushed back again. That's all I care about.
It's supposed to come out last year.
I know.
Oh,
Hey.
wait. Was this supposed to come out in 2019? No, right? 2020 was the original date?
2020.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, okay.
I
Yeah.
will not be able to
Still
survive if
crazy.
they push that back again.
Yeah,
I-
we can't keep waiting for
I
that.
would rather them push back Spider-Man than Eternals.
I mean, it was
I
supposed to
said
come
it.
out after, so
Yeah.
why
that's-
not? But that's up to Sony, I guess.
All right. Well, that was
Yeah,
fun.
So, absolutely. Well, unless you guys have any other thoughts, that should do it. I mean, that felt like just an old school discussion
We
of us
spent an
sitting
hour
around.
talking about that, by the way.
Hey,
Mhm.
these are the type of conversations we have, like just in person. So that's kind of what it felt like for
Yeah.
reals. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. We really, really appreciate it. I'll go ahead and let the two gentlemen here let you know where they can find them online. I'll start with you, Brian Avalosino.
Be a Volcino for Twitter. And with this gentleman who will tell you where to find us on another YouTube channel.
I mean, you can say it too.
And
Nope.
Jake Berlin. Where can they find you and Brian online?
Well, you can find me at Qui-Gon Jake, 2 N's, because someone else took it before I did. You can also find the both of us on a certain point of view for Schmodown After Show Talk. I pressed the buttons here on Apocaflix. Luckily, I didn't click that one. And then also, if you're interested in whiskey, If you're interested in learning more about whiskey or talking just kind of stuff that I like to talk about, I do a little show called The Whiskey Jedi. And I talked last week on the episode I did where I'm kind of opening the doors a little bit more than just Star Wars and talking about the things that I'm watching and want to talk about. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, come stop by. There might be an episode later this week. If not, it'll be next week. And
you sound like the drag queens that Jill and Molly brought. It's our show, and I do what I want.
It is my show, and I do.
I know.
True,
That's what I'm
very
saying.
true. And you can find me on Twitter at Jacob Bartley 824. Also, if you are an NFL fan or play fantasy football, I have another YouTube channel called First Round Fantasy. It is football time. We literally have a preseason game this week, so come check us out over there at First Round Fantasy. It's the Hall of Fame game.
I was going to say.
It's Steelers.
Football season doesn't start until baseball season's over. Sorry,
it's preseason, football preseason though. But yes, very exciting stuff going on. And tomorrow night we have our next episode of Bartley and Barnes. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. we'll be doing our July recap. We're talking NBA basketball, some of the Olympic stuff, Black Widow.
Are there any players left in the NBA that haven't signed to the Lakers? Because they've got like 97 players.
It doesn't matter. They're all over the age of 35.
They have 3 players, and the Brooklyn Nets have a better 3 players. So who cares? All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Apocalypse Now. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.
God, what a quick ending.